In 3, 2, 1, and.
Hello,
Hey,
DuPage.
hello, hey.
We are.
Howdy. Welcome back, DuPage.
What is it? Welcome back, DuPage.
Welcome back, DuPage.
So we're 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, DuPage.
Welcome back, DuPage.
My name is Reverend Barbara Ross.
I'm Chad Earl,
And I'm Larry Love.
and today we want to provide the practical steps of the Health Initiative Program. We're going to begin by giving you 5 exercises that you can do without equipment. I'm going to give you some simple nutrition tips you can implement, and we have our beautiful exercise model demonstrate the routines unbeknownst to her, but we're going to do that today. And so we can demonstrate how simple these activities of daily living can be that's not required to have a gym membership, a exercise outfit, and so you can get healthy right where you are, how you are. So we're excited to start today. Larry, let's begin with these exercises.
So these exercises anybody can do because they're activities of daily living. They're movements that we do daily. They're not complicated. They're easy to do. So let's start off with them, okay? And so the first exercise we're going to start off with is simply an exercise that uses our legs. We do it every day. We go from a sitting to standing position. So we call it a sit to stand. So Reverend Ross, just have a seat for me, okay? And I want you to put your hands down to the side and stand up and have a seat. And what we will do for this exercise, how many repetitions are involved with this, we'll say if you can do this 15 times, that's a great start to work the front of the legs. Stand up. That's exercise 1. Why don't you demonstrate exercise 2?
Great. And so again, we've talked about in the previous video how there's level 1, level 2, and level 3. And so that right there is a beginning level 3. And so if you have a deeper, or shall we say lower bench or seat, do that same activity, that's what you'd want to do to progress to the next one. And so you can't see the difference, but you still would go down with the shoulders up, have the seat, keep your posture up, and look up, except you're declining to a lower position. And so take, for example, a coffee table in most of the homes. Okay, or take, for example, the second step at the bottom of a staircase, squatting down to your second step, and then standing back up. And again, the key is you don't want to stand up and sit down and lose balance or throw your shoulders across your knees to initiate the motion. And we not want to begin the pattern, you can see here, with a shoulder movement toward the knee. I want to keep this nice 90-degree angle and then stand right up, okay? And so Larry's going to demonstrate the final unilateral exercise as I get the equipment to have him be at the right position. So step off here. On the staircase.
So a couple things we want to keep in mind, okay? When you place your foot on a stair, most people will make the mistake of their knee extending over their toes. That's exactly what we don't want you to do, okay? What we want you to do is place your foot on a stair, and you're going to initiate by squeezing your abdominals and pushing into the ground, which will be the stair, pushing off the ground and standing up, okay? And then on the descent, you're coming down the same way. Again, it's important that you realize we don't want you leaning too far forward or leaning too far back. Both are for safety reasons, and also we never want you to injure anything. Again, alternating, okay? We would do 10 to 15 alternating steps, and that would be your advanced step up.
Thank you. And so, as Larry talked about, the progression, you have a 10 to 15 rep start, and you know you're ready to move on to the next level, be it level 3, be it level 2, be it level 1 introductory. Once you can perform 40 to 50 straight continuing repetitions per exercise. And so that's exercise 1. We now want to move to exercise 2, which is for the chest and upper body, a pressing pattern. We're going to move to the wall here and do the level 3 exercise.
So we have our next exercise, which is a wall push-up. The wall push-up is a very easy exercise to do. And as you can see, you can use casual clothing. And we're going to start off by cueing Reverend Ross. She's going to place her hands on the door. And we want her hands about shoulders width apart. And we want our hands slightly just below shoulders or at the shoulders. And what Reverend Ross is going to start off doing is contracting her shoulder blades, squeezing them together, and then from there, she's going to descend towards the wall, okay? And she's squeezing her shoulder blades right here, and she's going to push herself away, okay? Push away. And you're going to repeat that process again. Again, we want you to do this 10 to 15 repetitions, so why don't you do a couple as an example, okay? All the way in, okay? And then she's going to push away, okay? And repeat that about 5 more times. Here we go. Towards the wall. And then push away. With everything we do from a movement standpoint, always keep your core contracted. That's good for overall stability of the body. And there you have it, a wall push-up.
Well, we all 3 in the shot?
Yeah, all 3 of them in the shot.
Okay.
They're watching you while you do it.
I feel uncomfortable now. All right, so now we are going to begin with the second progression of the push-up, which is the kneeling or modified push-up. With this exercise, you want to keep the same components as Larry talked about: good scapular stability, good posture, good thoracic breathing. And so you want to make sure that you place your hands right in line with the shoulders and then bring the knees back to shift the weight. I want to inhale, keep my abs tight, and then lower my chest right down to the floor. Let the shoulders retract back, and then I press away. Again, be careful of the elbows. I'm not letting my elbows flail out. I'm taking my elbows straight back, and I breathe out and push away. And so again, on this posture, I make sure that my hips are not hiked up, that my hips stay neutral as I go down, and I breathe out and press away. Again, for your feet, they can be up or down. That doesn't matter. But what's more important is the hip position. You want to have the hips neutral, not low and not high, leading with this posture here. Okay? So on the kneeling push-up, you might have to either do it in the mirror so you can see your body posture, or have somebody help cue you, and so you don't put undue stress in the wrong area.
So we have level 1, or our advanced exercise. This is what we call a standard push-up. So one of the things that we want to keep in mind when we're doing a standard push-up, we want our hands to be shoulders width apart, but we want our hands to be directly underneath our shoulders. And we want to go into a full length position, knees off the ground. And as you descend to the floor, you want to squeeze your shoulder blades. One of the biggest mistakes with a standard push-up, people have their butt too high in the air, or they're sagging at the low back, or their elbows are flaring out. We want you to contract the core, belly button towards the spine, and lower yourself, push yourself up. That right there, that's your standard push-up.
My shoulders are gonna be sore.
They're actually gonna feel good because you're releasing all that rounded tension.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, and especially if you've been driving. So we have our next exercise here. It's called a row. It's a bodyweight row. Some points of emphasis with this exercise is contracting our shoulder blades, which means squeezing our shoulder blades, which we will demonstrate. And we start off with Reverend Ross with her arms fully extended, shoulder height. Her hands are in what we call a neutral position. And so what we're going to have her do is pull her elbows back, okay, keeping them close to the body, and she's going to squeeze her shoulder blades, okay? Now from that position, she's going to reach forward again, okay, maintaining a nice posture. Notice her hands are in a neutral position. So what we're going to have her do is drop her shoulders first, not her hands, but just the shoulders, and she's going to pull her elbows back and squeeze her shoulder blades. So you see the contraction right there. This is a great back exercise. And she's going to repeat, going forward, She's going to pull back again. And this is an excellent exercise to develop an upper back but maintain a great posture. There you have it, your back row.
This is level 2. To piggyback on top of what Larry just demonstrated, we want to now add tension in the horizontal place. And so as you did it previously, you just pulled back, adding tension vertically going this way. Now I want you to either grab a towel or a sweatshirt, something that allows you to grab it just outside shoulder width. And then I want to create tension horizontally, not just vertically retracting back, but I want you to keep that same technique with the scapula and the shoulders going down, but then you want to actually add this pull. So I'm pulling across, keeping the abs tight. You can have one foot in front. You can be parallel, it's up to you. But the key is to pull it across as you, again, pull back to the pecs. And again, this is an increase to the exercise because not only is it going to develop some of the musculature across the top of the back, you also get some of the internal muscle groupings as you keep the tension up. So again, it's not just grabbing the towel and moving back and forth. You have to have this under load, and this really increases the load on the shoulder, getting you ready for the final exercise. So again, my feet are placed through the doorway. When my hands about shoulder width, and then I pull through the door, and I come back.
Hold on. All right. I'm sorry. I don't want a bucket of water in your shot. It's just. I'm sorry, man. I didn't even realize.
Are you good now?
I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was there.
Sorry.
When I panned down, I saw the bucket. I was like, no. Okay.
We now want to provide the final back exercise in our progression series. What you want to do to start this pattern is that's going to be a doorway row, and you place both feet through the threshold of the door to begin with. So you see here I place both feet through the doorway, and I have my chest and shoulders up, and I have my hands right here at shoulder width. Now again, you may want to have somebody behind you to initially get the feel of the exercise because you want to be totally extended. Chest up, you don't want to be slouched to pull through. You want to have good posture, and you breathe out as you pull toward the door. I breathe out. Now once you get the range of motion down, you then can feel confident to do it on your own, but initially we recommend somebody behind you just so you get your confidence up and get the proper feel for the pattern. You would not want to go down just partially here. You want to have a nice full extension, head up, and then you pull through the door, and then you want to go down, head up. Again, not bowing, not arching. Nice chest and thoracic stability there. Head is nice and neutral as you pull back through the doorway. And so once you feel comfortable in that motion, you'll be able to do it on your own, but initially, let's have somebody there behind you just to get comfortable with the pattern prior to doing it initially for the first time, okay? That concludes the upper back progression.
So we have our next exercise. It's called a toe touch. Now, the purpose of this exercise is to not only lengthen the back of your legs, which are your hamstrings, it's also to strengthen your hamstrings and your gluteal muscles or your butt muscles. Now, some people may have limitations in their ranges of motion, so it's real key to keep a nice neutral spine or flat back as you go down. We don't want you to overreach, which defeats the purpose of the exercise. So as we demonstrate, we'll show you how to correctly do this exercise. We have Reverend Ross here, and again, she's in casual clothing, so you can do this in any type of clothing. We want them to be loosely fitting and comfortable. We're going to have her squeeze her butt muscles together to start off, and then we're going to have her reach down to touch towards her toes. Now, as you notice, she's keeping a nice flat back right here. Now, if you have any limitations, don't overreach. We want you to be as comfortable as possible, but we do want you to keep tension on the back of the legs. And this is a great hamstring strengthening exercise, and she's going to repeat about 5 repetitions of these. And again, nice and comfortable, nice flat back. She's breathing as she does this. And do you feel that stretch in the back of your legs?
Yes, I
Good.
do.
I really want to emphasize with this exercise, if you keep your glute muscles contracted, it's a great way to develop hamstrings and awesome butt muscles.
The next exercise for level 2 is going to be a dynamic pelvic bridge. And so to begin with, we want to be flat on your back with the knees bent. Now, there might be a limitation to range of motion in the upper neck and back area. You know that if you cannot place the back of your head down while your shoulders are also depressed against the mat. If you find yourself in this posture, you may need to grab a pillow or some kind of cushion to make sure your head is braced against the ground, because we don't want you straining up and pushing up while your head is not depressed against the ground. And so I depress my head against the ground. I keep my shoulders pulled back, my hands are down, relaxed. And now I want to press up through the heels. In pressing up through the heels, I initiate squeezing the glutes first, drive the pelvis all the way up, keep my feet down, my toes down. I don't want to be up on my toes. And then I want to travel up and downward. My hands stay down. I want to move up and down. And I want to finish the motion all the way up top. I don't want to cheapen the motion and stop halfway. I want to go all the way through the pattern until my pelvis is totally flexed forward and I get a deep glute and lower back activation, okay? So that concludes the level 2 variation, the dynamic bridge.
So we have our next exercise, which is level 1, okay? It's called a single leg bridge, and you hold the position for 15 seconds. And I'm going to do that on both legs. So I'm going to get in position, and you need to elevate your feet somehow, some way. You can use an ottoman, you can use a bench, okay? For safety, you can put your heels on the bench, but if you feel comfortable, you can go mid-foot, okay? Safety-wise, heels on a bench is a little tougher. This way is a little bit more forgiving. You bring one knee to the chest, you tilt your pelvis, keep your core tight, squeeze your butt muscles, hands are on the ground, you're holding for 15 seconds, breathing. You descend, bring the other knee to your chest, elevate, squeeze your butt muscles and core. And there you have it, single leg bridge. Great exercise for the posterior chain. So we have our next exercise. This is to work our core. This is a level 3 exercise, and we have Reverend Ross here. And what we're going to demonstrate here is a plank from the kneeling position on the elbows. So you start off kneeling, place your hands on the mat, and you're going to walk yourself forward, okay? And now I want you to drop down to your elbows, okay? Great, all right? Now, what we want, okay, we want her spine to be neutral. However, a great way to do that is to lift the feet off the ground, okay? And I want you to tuck your butt in a little bit more, okay? About right there. And right there you have a nice stabilized plank. Couple actions. We want her to squeeze her shoulder blades together, and we also want her to squeeze her glute muscles together, and also squeeze her belly button into her spine, and we want her to hold that for approximately 10 to 15 seconds. And there you have it. You have a level 3 plank, a great exercise to strengthen your core, your back, also your entire body.
The level 2 core exercise is a basic plank. A couple of things to keep in mind with the basic plank is that while performing the plank, you want to have the umbilicus or the navel region pulled in tight toward the belly button, and you can create more tension in the pattern by pressing the knuckles together and pressing the heels together behind. And so you don't just want to pull up when you perform the plank, you also want to add a little tension by pressing the hands together as well as the heels. I will demonstrate that. So on the plank pattern, you can do it classically by having about a 6-inch distance between the wrists, or you can make a fist and press the wrists together, which gives me more tension, and the heels pressed together, which gives me more tension in the pattern. And so it's not just about holding the pattern, you also want to tighten and strengthen as many muscles as possible. And so when I'm up in the plank, I want to squeeze the biceps, press the heels together, press the knuckles together. And so it's not so much that I'm just pulling against gravity pulling my spine down. You can see here, when I get tired, that the spine will dip down. So I'm pulling against gravity, but I also want to engage not just the lower back, but again, the transverse abdominis, some of the deep muscles of the core. I want to engage the glutes stronger, so when I press those patterns together, it activates more musculature. So when you do loads above the head or heavy pressing patterns like a push-up or like a squat on your back, your body is used to tension in the core. So this is why we're performing the plank. When you're moving bags of salt or groceries, you can be strong in the core. So again, to recap that pattern, I'm not just doing the plank with a 6-inch gap and I'm trying to hold against gravity like this. No, I want to allow some tension, press the heels together, keep my chin right over my thumbs as I hold this pattern. And so quality over quantity. If you can hold these planks for a minute or two each, then it's time to challenge yourself and move to a more aggressive situation. It's not about how long can you hold a suboptimal pattern. It's more about adding tension that you can progress, have it be beneficial in your daily activities of living.
We have our next exercise, which is the plank. It's level 1. It's the most advanced version of the plank. So we're going to start off with our hands shoulders width apart. Directly underneath our shoulders, we're going to balance on our hands and our tiptoes. Okay? We don't want you rocking back and forth. We don't want you rounding your back or lifting your hips or sagging your hips. We want you to maintain a nice neutral spine. We want you contracting your abdominals, squeezing your glute muscles together. And this is a great way to strengthen your overall core. So there you have it, a level 1 plank position.
In closing, we want to provide you all with a couple of considerations. 1 with the breathing, 2nd with the clothing, and then 3 with the progression. Larry, you want to take it from here?
So some footnotes to keep in mind. Conditioning, exercise, health, nutrition, and recovery, they're all meant to be fun. We want you to enjoy these exercises. 2, we want to talk about proper clothing. Proper clothing includes loose-fitting clothing, appropriate footwear, particularly rubber-soled shoes. That's going to help with your grip. And also, we want to make sure that you have some proper hydration. In addition, some breathing patterns that we want you to keep in mind. As you're performing each of the exercises, just make sure you're inhaling and exhaling. As you progress and become more in tune with these exercises, your breathing patterns will adapt accordingly. But one of the bigger mistakes that people make is they hold their breath during exercise, and that's not what we want. In addition, these exercises, because they're body weight exercises, which are level 3, they can be done daily. As you progress through these exercises in degree of difficulty, you may want to either do them every day if you master them, or you can do them every other day. The fact is frequency matters. Just do them. And if you do need a break, take a break. There is no prescription that says you have to rush through them. If you're feeling tired, feel free to take a break and restart, because the whole purpose of this is to not become injured. Injury prevention is the key with all of these exercises that we've shown you, but we also want you to get the benefit of gaining some strength, and as you progress to potentially using weights or using any type of modality such as those, you can either see Chad or myself.
Thanks, Larry. And so in closing, DuPage, do something to get off the couch, engage the family. Besides just going for a walk, you can develop that kinetic chain, your bones, your muscles, and we look forward to seeing you a little bit further down the journey toward better fitness. Thank you very much.